Many different people have been attracted to Paris throughout the last couple hundred years. Of course, there's a strong background of philosophers that have come through here: Rousseau, Voltaire, many others, Montesquieu, back before the French Revolution, back during the Kings. Of course, Benjamin Franklin from the United States was an admirer of Voltaire and actually got to meet him before Voltaire passed away. And there had been a continued tradition after the Revolution where artists were attracted here, one of the most well-known of which was Pablo Picasso, who passed away in the 20th century and was here for many, many years, and very prolific artist. Others like Modigliani and many writers came here. Of course, there's the Bohemian area, and we were in Montmartre recently, and that was one of the areas that attracted many different artists and different types of people that came into Paris and made it sort of this bohemian paradise back during the bohemian days of the 1880s, 1890s, turn of the previous century type of thing, and that's continued to today. One of the things you'll see if you walk around Paris and many, many different areas of France is that attraction to different art things. You'll see people on the banks of the Seine. They'll be painting. People are walking around with sketchbooks, and they're getting ready to sketch different people, or they're sketching their own things. There's students here. There's many different sort of expatriate bookstores. We see many different foreign, international bookstores here, and you get many, many different varied things. And Paris has become this sort of hotbed for it in the last few centuries, and it continues today, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And you have the opportunity to see Monet and Manet and Degas and all these different painters and these different styles and these different ideas. But let me go back to Picasso. Whatever you may think of Picasso's art, I'm not necessarily what I would call a great fan of the man's art, but to study Picasso and the individual that he was is very, very interesting to me. And one of the things about Picasso, from all the different stories, one beautiful way to learn about Picasso is to read other people's stories about Picasso. And one of the things you'll hear about Picasso is that he would rip up his own paintings. He would turn his paintings inwards so that he wouldn't look at them while he was working on some other creative art, somewhere that he didn't want his old self to influence his today's self type of thing, perhaps. And there's many ways to interpret it. And when you study all the different biographers and sort of this erratic way he seemed to act, there were people that just saw Picasso as this master, and people would be in awe and they'd be a little terrified to approach him. But the ones that were brave enough, in some of the stories he would reward, and he would say, "You're brave enough, but I'm going to test you." And he would send some of these young artists to go to the Prado in Madrid. He would tell them to go to different things. He would tell them to look at paintings, and he would say, "Come back here and tell me what makes it so interesting. What is it that draws your eye? And let me see if you have the eye of an artist." And he would tell people, you can't be Picasso. You have to go be yourself. And philosophically, another beautiful thing that I read recently was I read about Bruce Lee, a book that Bruce Lee's daughter wrote about his own philosophy. And somewhere in there, Bruce Lee creating his own Jeet Kune Do, his own martial art. He had all these various levels. And of course, in different martial arts, they have ways to test you, to see your technique, to see your skill. There's belts, there's all sorts of different ways they test that. And the highest level for Bruce Lee in his Jeet Kune Do is, he said, only Bruce Lee can achieve the highest level of Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. And one of his struggles was that without him being alive, that his martial art might die out because people might try to emulate him. And he said, that's the mistake you make, is your highest level cannot be my highest level. And nor could Bruce Lee achieve the same highest level of Jeet Kune Do as you could, because it's an individual thing. It's a mastery of yourself, your conditions, your life, your ways of being. It's not trying to master somebody else's. Picasso had that same idea. And while I don't go out and just fawn over the man's work, the philosophy they had, where both of these individuals who never met probably, but maybe there was some influence in there, who knows, But they had sort of that same outlook, that your highest level has to come from you. It has to come from your life, your experience, your way of being, your values, what makes you you, and bring that to your highest level. Don't worry about being others. You can look at others and see technique, and you can study methods, and you can look at things in ways to challenge yourself and say, here's some standards I want to look at. But in the end, it's about mastering who you are and loving who you are. Again, going back to the Delphic Oracle, to know thyself, be thyself, and love thyself, to get to that level. And that's one of the things that Paris has sort of inspired in me, and one thing that I keep working toward in mastery of myself and what I do. So here's to mastering yourself, and bonne journée, bonne année, bonne giornata, and we'll see you next time. It's Dr. Kyle. Thank you.